Hello and welcome back. Today I want to do a video, follow-up video to my initial Warhammer Age of Sigmar Spearhead video from a few weeks ago. In that I noted that Hachette, or however you pronounce it, are doing a new partwork series based on the Warhammer Age of Sigmar series, Spearhead. They had launched with issue 1, and subsequently we have now had issues 2 to 4. Since doing the initial video, I've since learned that the run of these issues was one of the test runs a lot of these partwork magazines often do to ensure that the magazine would be viable for the entire series. So as a result, this was limited to certain areas of the UK, although you can still access their website and sign up for their subscription if you want to. So the first issue came out in September as their trial run. Typically, from my experience, partwork magazines either launch in September or around that time, or the beginning of the year, typically sort of January, early February time. So I would imagine that if this one is going to series, then it will likely be January next year it launches. So if you've signed up for the subscription, I suspect you'll probably find that your first issues will launch around that time. Touch wood. Possibly, hopefully this goes to series. While I have subscribed, I haven't been issued any of the ones from my subscription. I just happened to pick these up in TG Jones. I had to think about that for a second. They're no longer Smiths, are they? So quickly run through these, see what you get. One thing I wanted to note is when you pick up issue 4, there is a leaflet inside for you to complete and return to the publishers. If you do, you should possibly receive a free gift, or you can request a refund of your first 4 issues because this was just a trial run. Obviously, I don't know what the free issue or the free gift will be from Hachette for this run. I did sign up for the Warhammer Combat Patrol series a couple of years ago. When I signed up for that, it was during its trial run period again. And even though I never received any issues and I wasn't in the test area from Hachette, I did receive the Tyrannic War Crusade book from Warhammer. I would imagine possibly that if the free gift gets delivered from Hachette for the Spearhead, it will be something similar to that level of quality that you would expect. So it is a reasonably decent item you're getting as a free gift. Obviously you've paid for the individual issues and you'll end up paying for them again if you sign up for the full series, but it is a reasonable offer, especially given that you get so many miniatures and things with these issues as it is. And all of the issues is one of their standard sign-up sheets, along with a summary of the 3 gifts you can expect. That was covered in issue 1, so I'm not going to go over that again. I'm just going to have a quick look at these magazines and what comes with each issue. I did find that all 3 of these issues are still widely available in my local Smiths, TG Jones. So hopefully, if you haven't picked these up and you still want to, that you're going to be able to find them on the shelves. I think typically with these partworks, they can't get sent back to the publishers, so they kind of have to be put on the shelves to sell off as they can. At least that's what I think. I don't know for certain. So with issue 2, You get 3 of the rat ogres. You can see here they come on their spindles, and I believe they're simple push fit ones, so they're a nice easy model to start with, especially if you haven't got any glue or anything. Inside we get our contents page. We get a reading section which looks at the Skaven and covers their species, their lives, and place within the Age of Sigmar universe. There's a build page. I will say all these magazines are falling apart. That is because these typically get split up by each pages and get put in a binder under the subsections. So that is the reason they are falling apart. They are intended to. It's not just bad binding. Although the glue on these issues have been really, really flimsy. Yet build instructions. We get our first paint tutorial, which goes through basically just the basics of how you're going to start painting and some of the keywords, etc. We get our play pages, which covers rules and scenarios to play with the minifigures. I haven't read this properly, but I think they come up with some basic scenarios so you can play with the figures you've already got and not need a complete army, which I think is a nice, fun touch. So that is issue 2. We get a look at issue 3 and 4. Issue 3 comes with 5 Liberators. I can't show you those models because I've actually got them assembled and they're primed, waiting for the paint to dry on those. But it's the same as the rats. They come on their spindles. They are push fit models, so you don't need any glue for them. The assembly is really, really simple. Nice, easy instructions to follow. This issue we get history and information on the Stormcast Stormcloaks themselves, which goes through again the history. And I would imagine over the course of this series it will go into all of the lore of the realms and the various species. I know that the Warhammer 40k series has been really, really in depth and really interesting to look and read at. So if you're not familiar with this franchise and it's something you're wanting to get into, as I said with in the first issue, these are a fantastic way to do so. Not only is it cheaper than buying all of the models through Warhammer directly, but you get the paints, you get some really, really interesting laws and information and everything else. You get a how to paint section. Unit weapons. So again, play guide. All of the issues will have the basic same sections in it, but they do expand and are certainly interesting to the read through. Issue 4, you get your first 2 paints with the Retributor armor and Abaddon Black, and you also get a starter brush. Now these size paints are normally a little under £4 in Games Workshop, so you get 2 of those for £10 plus a paintbrush, which again usually comes out at about £3 or £4 for one of these. So again, that is a really decent price. Eventually, these issues, if they're anything like the Warhammer 40k Combat Patrol, you'll eventually only get 2 paints an issue. So these issues end up being a little more expensive than if you were to buy the paint separately. But the cost versus the fact that you get so many models throughout the run of this series does offset that. We get our first sections looking at the collecting. So this gives us our summary of our models and their abilities and play features within the games. So we get our models so far. We get some techniques on layering the paints on our models, and it gives us the first look at how we begin to start painting the individual models, and then we get our play sections again. So overall, I hope this goes to series. I've enjoyed the first 4 issues. I think they've come with some really good models. I don't play Warhammer, so I'm not really familiar with the game, and I'm still relatively new to all of the lore for both sides of the franchise, so I can't really comment on that. But I have, if these continue and they are anything like the Combat Patrol series for 40k, then these are going to be an excellent resource for newcomers and probably long-term collectors alike. Price-wise, I think it is a really, really decent price for the issues. I think in the long run, it does work out slightly cheaper than actually buying all the models individually. Although that is the offset of, do you actually want all of these models or not? Or are you only interested in 1 or 2 armies? If you're only interested in 1 or 2 armies, then this is probably not for you, and you're better off buying them individually. But if you're interested in just collecting the models or whatever, then I definitely think these are an absolutely fantastic price, and they certainly do work out cheaper than buying these individually. Also, you know, it's 40 quid a month for X number of models versus, you know, 60 to 100 plus quid for one box set. But, you know, again, that's down to you. Again, if you subscribe, you get a bunch of free stuff. You know, most of it's free tat. It's a mug, a pair of clippers. I've got half a dozen of those lying around. Some of Warhammer's own paintbrushes, which are they're not the best paintbrushes I've got or used. You do get a free model with your 7th one, which is always quite nice. And if you're willing to pay an extra £2.50 an issue throughout your subscription, you will get 4 additional premium models. I think this £2.50 deal is fantastic. So I did, about a week or so ago, I looked at this and I did the cost analysis. Now, these models are usually 60 plus quid. And I think if you do it via the £2.50 model, these work out to be nearly half price. So that is a really great deal. I've certainly had that with the Combat Patrol. That was £2 a premium issue, and you get 2 models worth 80 quid or 40 quid each. And again, I've worked out that they come in at usually about 20 quid a model, so that's again really, really great. I might be wrong on the £60. They might actually be higher model prices, I can't remember, but I do remember thinking the pricing of doing the premium format is amazing. You do get an amazing deal with those. So if you are planning on signing up to this, I would strongly recommend considering subscribing or paying the extra £2.50 an issue and getting the premium models throughout the collection, but that is a personal preference. So final thoughts. Yeah, I think these look like they're going to shape up to be a really great informative series. If you are new to Warhammer and it's something you are looking to get into, I think these are absolutely fantastic. If you're a long-term collector and you just want loads more models to paint and build or play with throughout the run, again, absolutely fantastic. If you're only interested in one or two of the armies, then it's harder to recommend this, because solely you're going to end up with a load of models that you don't actually need. As I said, I've subscribed, and I'm hoping that this does go to full series in the coming months. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, freedom is a right, not a privilege.